Hello, families, and thank you for tuning in to this overview of week 4. I'm going to be talking you through your activities for this week and giving you a tour of some of the resources that we have embedded into this week's Parents Materials Guide. Let's go ahead and dive in to our language arts block. So you can see that we do have reading, writing, and some word learning for this week. For reading, you will be encouraging your student to continue their practice of the 5-finger retell, which is something that we started last week using the hand graphic organizer to review those 5 key story elements. This week, your child's going to be taking that graphic organizer and turning it into a paragraph. So there is a video in 2 parts to help you all with practicing writing those paragraphs and how we can take our notes from our organizer and turn it into a paragraph. The 2 examples that are covered in the video are linked here, the 3 little pigs and the cool beans, so you can reference those paragraphs as needed. The directions for the activity are here, and there are some resources embedded in those directions. You have some retelling cards to help with some prompting. You have, there they are popping up. You have some notes from last week. These are just to review the different parts of the 5-finger retell. And then if you want to do the activity with a brand new book, that original graphic organizer is also included here. So your child will just be sharing their original graphic organizer and their paragraph with their teacher. For writing, we're heading back to that writing seed choice board. Your student will pick one more prompt, a new prompt different from the other 2 they've done, and submit their final story to their teacher. For word learning this week, we're taking on a new approach. So word learning has a lot to do with how we use words to communicate with people as well. And so one of the activities that the county prepared on the Language Arts Choice Board was an interview. So we've broken this activity into 2 parts. This week, your child's going to focus on understanding the purpose of an interview, the etiquette of an interview, and then how to write important questions in order to get the type of information that they want to get from the person they're interviewing. So their goal is to watch this video in 2 parts with Mrs. Duke that explains a little bit more about interviewing. There are some notes here embedded into the directions that you can go over and look at to reference, especially when it comes to thinking about the types of questions to ask. And their goal, your student's goal this week, is to write a list of 10 thoughtful questions to ask somebody in their life. This can be done over the phone, over a video call, or in person. The next week is when we will actually be completing the interview process. Let's go ahead and skip down to math. We are starting a new math unit this week. Our unit will be all about time, and our focus is going to be on reading analog clocks and then making times on analog clocks. So there is the county overview that you can access at this link here. We do have some clock notes that Mrs. Rotundi references in her 2-part video. If you would like to make a clock at home, we do have a resource here that Mrs. Rotundi goes over how to use. And then there is an online clock that she demonstrates in her videos as well. That could be really helpful if you have access to that. As far as their activities go this week, we really want them just practicing reading times and making times. So we have 2 different activities here, and we're asking that your child posts a picture or a video of themselves reading a time on an analog clock and telling us how they did it, and then also creating times on an analog clock and telling us how they're doing that. There are a couple of games that the county created that are a part of this math packet that you can click on these links here for the time bump game or the spinning time game. And those are some additional resources that you can use in order to help you practice reading times and making times. We are going to switch gears and go back to science this week. Ms. Gibaldi has put together a video to talk to you all about the unit on animal relationships. We're talking about predator-prey relationships, different types of consumers, and then of course the different roles within a food chain. So there are 3 resources and activities to complete, and then an assessment for this unit as well. You can click on these links here to access those activities, or you can of course go to that science packet and scroll down to the 2nd unit about animal relationships. So just to overview, there is one science summative assessment due this week, and that is for the food chains, the food chain final project. And then of course the yellow highlighting is stuff that we would love to see submitted to us so that we can kind of gauge how the kiddos are doing and give some feedback. Your parent materials guide of course includes ways to share work, office hours, and Zoom meetings. There are a couple of additional resources there at the bottom that you all can reference as you see fit. All right, if you have any questions, like usual, please reach out to your classroom teacher and we will be happy to help you navigate through week 4. I can't believe we're already into week 4. Best of luck this week.